I know previously you stated some of the films you're working on. Do you mind reiterating what they were and the people that were on the sets, the actors you were working with?
News Cycle with Omar Gooden, Dennis L.A. White. It was directed by Roger Green Jr. I also worked in the movie Blowback with Clifton Powell.
Now a nigga hopping out of foreign slamming doors. Real bosses buying shit you can't afford. While y'all was scamming and stealing, I was planning for millions. From roaches on the walls to chandeliers on the ceilings. Went from sleeping on the floor to beach houses by the shore. Had to drive in Focus, but an Explorer I couldn't afford.
Founder and owner of BILDABERG Records, four-time winner of the 91.1 FM Sunday Night Spotlight. 2-year back-to-back winner of the Title X Duce Rock Nation competition. Successful independent music artist with 7 studio albums and over 20 music videos on YouTube. Recently was on the National Def Jam Tour, Everybody Can't Go, with Benny the Butcher and Boldy James. Recently released album, Prima Materia, featuring Benny the Butcher, Nature, and Dave East. Movie roles alongside of Hollywood's biggest names, like Clifton Powell, Omar Gooden, Dennis L.A. White. Artist, writer, actor, music producer, movie producer, photographer, video director, self-taught engineer, entrepreneur, successful business owner, philanthropist, the one and only TAVI OSHON. How you been? How's it going?
I'm all right, man. How you?
I'm good. So let's start from the beginning.
All right.
The opening lyrics of the intro, "You were born on the run." Tell us about that.
Well, basically, my father's friend, eventually he became a police officer, and to go up in rank, he started busting a lot of his friends. And basically, my father at the time wasn't living the cleanest life, so, you know, he targeted my father at times, and they had a big altercation. Apparently, it was some form of a shootout or something, and my dad ended up running, you know, with my mom to California. I was born in Ohio, actually. I was born in Toledo, Ohio, had my first birthday in Houston, Texas, and then eventually my father moved back to New York. He turned himself in, and I ended up, you know, growing up in New York.
Okay, wow. So you definitely bounced around in that beginning there.
Yeah.
Well, you've been making music for well over 10 years now. How big of a difference is there between the sounds of your songs 10 years ago compared to now? And how different was your mindset and approach to that scene?
Really, to me, if you're an authentic artist, you don't really, it doesn't matter what time period that it is, because you're gonna basically just go off of how the music makes you feel. It could be any era of sound of music, but when you hear the music, it'll inspire you, you know?
Okay. On social media, you've been very outspoken about your life and community in PKNY. Now you live in the 757 of Virginia. How do things compare, and what are some of the things you do to honor and pay respect to your background?
Well, you know, I still try to keep it true to where I'm from, but at the same time, you know, I love Virginia. I've been here for a while now, so, you know, I go home and I still rep Power Kingdom, which is what PK, you know, is short for Poughkeepsie, New York, but we call it Power Kingdom, New York, or whatever. And me and friends of mine, we have a group called the Power Kings. So we actually have an album that we're gonna release.
Well, I mean, what was it like growing up in New York?
Well, in the era when I grew up in New York, man, it was kind of wild in the street. It was like the crack era, you know, so you get a lot of people that are strung out on drugs. You know, you're a kid, you at the playground, and you see needles, you see vials. You know, there's shootings. You hear a lot of traffic noise. Of course, you hear the sirens. You know, and it's wild. It was like a concrete jungle for sure. But you know, I wouldn't trade it for the world. You know, I love where I come from, and my friends, my family, or whatever. And the experience was just like nothing else. You know?
Yeah. So coming from NY, how did you end up in Virginia?
Well, originally, I came to Virginia on vacation, and I ended up liking it so much, man, that I ended up just staying here and making it my home. You know, I've been here for a while now, you know.
Yeah. Well, applying your background to music to your career, how has living in the South influenced you as a rapper?
Well, basically, man, well, originally, it's funny because, like, growing up in New York, some people listen to Southern music, but it's, like, heavily New York everything. So as a kid, I always liked Southern music, West Coast music, all different types of music. But when it would come on Rap City back in the day, my brother, he would turn the channel because he's like, man, why do I want to hear this? Boop, you know, 8 Ball MJG or whatever. So for me, I was already cool with it. So a little bit before I moved here, Little John came out or whatever, and Little John was popping, and he started doing stuff with Northern artists, so it was a little more familiar. But when I ended up moving here, how it influenced me because I got to actually live in the environment, and I got to see how people were living and moving, so the music started to make a lot more sense.
Yeah, makes sense. In the music industry, I mean, what are some of your favorite MCs?
Honestly, if I would go through different eras, if I kind of like start at the beginning, I would say people like LL Cool J, Rakim, KRS-One, MC Lyte. If I move into like a little bit of, and Queen Latifah as well, and others. But if I move past that, I will go to people like Jay-Z, Nas, Biggie Smalls. Then after that era, I would say people like Lil Wayne, Eminem, DMX, and then in the current era, people that I listen to, I would say like Lil Durk, Glorilla, of course Jeezy, but he was a little bit before this era because Jeezy is my favorite Atlanta rapper.
Okay, yeah. I mean, to be honest, I mean, you went through a lot of names there, and it is crazy how different music, the rap game has transitioned from that point in time. What do you think about the current state of rap today?
Well, I respect what people are doing because, hip hop is from the heart or whatever, but I really feel like people need to get back to song content. I think a lot of people are just kind of like saying whatever. You have some artists like J. Cole, you get Drake, you got Kendrick, you got different people, that kind of like still embody some of the old way. But I think that people need to get back to like being who they truly are and making more songs.
Yeah. Less, what do you mean by songs?
So like if you go back to like the beginning of hip hop, you say like, we're playing basketball. Or if you even go to like somebody like Tupac, you know what I'm saying? A song like Changes, or Biggie made Juicy.
Yeah.
Or
more of a chorus.
Yeah, it's like the song is a structured song. Usually it's more of like a blues. Something that you're going through, something that you like. Like if you go to my album, I have a song called No More.
Yeah.
Yeah, I keep buying shoes, but I don't need no more. And my whole living room look like a sneaker store. My girl said stop buying shoes, you don't need no more. And I'm running out of space just to keep them all.
It's really about my love for fashion and sneakers, but it was actually inspired by a true event. I was looking at shoes online. My girl said, hey, you don't need any more. I said, oh, I got something for you. I walked in the room, pulled up that beat, and basically like freestyled like that whole song.
Okay.
So that's what I mean by like, songs.
Yeah.
Something that
comes more from the soul.
Yeah.
Less, just rapping more.
Yeah, and also it's more in tune with like who you are as a person, and it's like you don't want to just be like, okay, Young Thug is rapping like this, so I'm gonna rap like Young Thug. Yeah. It's like you don't want to be like that. If your voice is like Young Thug, naturally you can't control that.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, you still should have your own experiences, your own life, your own story to tell.
Yeah.
I
definitely think we're suffering from that right now. A lot of people do start to sound the same, I mean, your new album just came out. Every song is a different, it sounds a different vibe to it.
I don't know why I keep buying all these sneakers. Niggas super high, I keep blowing all this reefer.
It's very clear you're heavy into fashion and would consider yourself a sneakerhead. What are your top 3 sneakers of all time?
Man, that's kind of tough, man, because I love shoes, lots of shoes. But I would say my #1 favorite of all time, it would probably have to be the Bred 11s. Even right now, I got on a pair of Space Jams because I love 11s. 11s are my favorite number, Jordan. Then I probably have to say I really like Reebok Questions. The Allen Iverson sneaker, the original shoe. That was a staple shoe. And currently right now, I like the Anthony Edwards shoe. The AE1 was pretty dope, and it actually won Sneaker of the Year last year.
Did it?
And I bought 6 or 7 colors of it, man.
Really? You bought 6 or 7 colors of it?
Yeah.
Jeez. Wow, okay. Where'd you keep all that?
I mean, I keep them.
You keep that, 6, 7, 600. Wow, wow. Well, if you could do a song with anyone or any 2 people in the music industry, who do you think it would be?
Honestly, man, I'm gonna have to say more than 2 people, man. It'd have to be like Jay-Z because that's Jay.
Yeah.
Equally Nas because to me, Nas is dope. And if I would say female, I'd probably go R&B singer. I probably would go, probably get somebody like Keisha Cole.
Okay.
Because I always liked Keisha Cole. I always thought she was like a real artist.
Yeah.
You know, and actually she was discovered by Tupac.
But you know, speaking, you know, about other artists and controversies, how do you feel about the Drake and Kendrick Lamar beef?
You know, honestly, even though you know they say Kendrick won, I think you know Drake tried his best to hold his own, but Kendrick definitely got him. But I think it's ultimately good for hip hop. It's just like if you go into sports like boxing or whatever, anything like that, there has to be one winner. Two people go in the ring, one person walks out the victor, but hats off to both people because they were willing to compete. You know, a lot of people will run from competition because they're scared of the outcome. So, you know, honestly, I commend both of them for battling, but, you know, clearly, you know, Kendrick got him, man.
Can't
He
beat
performed at the Super Bowl, man. You know, that's like, it might be like the biggest diss record ever just off the strength they
I mean,
performed
he
at
dropped
the
like
Super
3
Bowl.
of them, right? There's 3 of them.
Oh, there was a bunch. They went back and forth for a while, and then eventually though, but that they not like us, man.
Yeah.
And then just really though, just performing the diss record at the Super Bowl,
Yeah.
like for the whole world to see. I think that that's
He
wild.
definitely shook Drake for sure. I mean, J. Cole even dropped out before, you know, he made an announcement
It
and
was
everything.
smart for him to drop out,
Yeah.
but I feel like also as an MC, if you're gonna say you're the best, you have to contend in the ring. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, you know, no disrespect to J. Cole because I respect him as an artist as well, but you gotta compete, bro.
Yeah.
You have to.
Definitely. Well, on the topic of competing, it's been stated that one of your favorite sports is boxing.
Yeah,
You know?
yeah.
Who's your favorite boxer? I mean, who do you currently watch?
Well, my favorite boxer of all time is obviously Iron Mike Tyson. Nobody had the impact like Mike Tyson in his prime. And the fun fact and story, my Aunt Bobby actually used to go to school with Mike Tyson back in the Catskills. Always looked up to him, man. And second, I say it had to be Muhammad Ali, but current boxers, man, I've been watching Mayweather before he retired. Mayweather was fun. A lot of people try to say that he runs a lot, but of course the art of boxing is you want to hit people and not get hit. And his offspring, somebody that he helped out as well, Gervonta Davis, Tank. That's my favorite boxer right now. Tank Davis is like currently my favorite boxer to watch.
Were you happy about the decision between him and Lamont Roach?
I feel all right. So this is like a controversial opinion because everybody that watched the fight just wanted Tank to lose and they just claimed Tank lost. But see, I'm an analyst when I watch boxing because it's my favorite sport. So when you really go back and really with like a fine tooth comb, like just look through and watch that match, you'll see that Tank won. The issue is that he did take the knee, and then at one point, I would say near the 7th round, Lamont Roach, he put his foot on the gas and started being a little bit more of the aggressor. Yeah. So somebody that's not too into boxing when they're watching, they would be like, all right, man, I've never seen Tank in this situation before. He won or whatever, you know?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Shifting towards more of the women's scene of boxing, do you think Claressa Shields can beat Layla Ali?
I'm going to tell you what I honestly think about that situation. You know, from my boxing IQ and knowing how people do possibly, over time being removed from the ring and, you get a little older, father time is a real thing, but you'll never lose your wisdom or your skill set. And Layla Ali is Muhammad Ali's daughter. So what I would say, honestly, I would say Layla Ali by knockout or Claressa Shields by decision. Layla Ali could still win by decision because sometimes I've noticed that Claressa Shields doesn't cut the ring off as much as they want her to. And Layla Ali, she has like 24 wins and like 22 by way of knockout. And I think Claressa Shields has 17 wins and only 3 knockouts. So I would give the power to Layla and the wisdom possibly to Layla. But the youthfulness, the stamina and agility, you might have to go lean towards Claressa.
Okay, so you think it could be, it's a
it
hit
could
or
go
miss.
either
It
way.
could go either way.
Yeah, it could go either way. And I also like that there's a new female boxer. Well, I think her name is like Alicia Baumgardner or something like that. She's a pretty good boxer as well, too.
Okay. Well, you think she's going to be the next come up?
Possibly. there's a lot of good prospects.
Yeah.
Mason, he's been coming up. People have been talking about Keyshawn Davis, you know. There's a lot of good up-and-coming prospects.
All right. Well, rolling things back to the focus of the music, what are some of your favorite producers in the industry right now?
In the music industry right at this moment, man, some legends, man, people like Drummer Boy, Hitmaker. If you want to go to like old school or more hip hop, you know, I would say Conductor. I would say DJ Premier, you know, for Gangstar, you know, Swiss Beats, Timberland, you know, some of the traditional, you know.
Yeah.
I really liked the Heatmakers were pretty good with Dipset and who's them dudes, man? The Justice League. The Justice League, they do a lot of stuff for Rick Ross. But then to take it back to the local scene, I got to shout out Bink and Knots, because they're both actually from like the area, like in Norfolk or whatever.
Okay, they're from Norfolk?
Yeah.
Okay, that's cool. All right. Well, I saw you just recently released an album, Prima Materia. Why'd you name it that, you know? Where did that come from? What's it about?
Well, Prima Materia, man, it's deep, man. If you know, when you Google it, you'll pop up. You know, it's originally, the name is agnostic, and it's about the beginning of all existence, the end, you know, Alpha and Omega, how like things come from nothingness and is created and materialized. So the way I felt about my album was like, it's like the alpha and omega of the new era. It was created from nothing and I materialized it into something. And I've never seen or heard of any other rap album with that name. A lot of the time when you're going to name your albums, it's actually hard to find names that people haven't already used. So when I ran across that, it was almost like a light bulb went off. I was like, I'm going with
Perfect.
this.
It's set right in.
Yeah, and it fits the tone of the sound of the music as well.
It's a unique name for sure. You know, I think it stands out compared to most. So, but I saw you started a strong promo run leading up to that release. Then you had a short hiatus. You want to fill in some gaps there?
Yeah, so I was in the Source magazine. I was on their website 2 or 3 times. I had my video with Benny up there, had the video with Nature Outside up there. I had the No More video up there. They promoted for me. I was on Hip Hop DX. I was doing all kind of Zoom interviews. I was just had so much momentum. I was like almost like so perfect timing, strike while the iron's hot to drop my album. And then in October 24, my grandmother passed away. Man, when my grandmother passed away, it just kind of set everything back. And I just kind of put music a little to the side. And I just kind of started focusing more on family and myself and, you know, myself and my spirit and getting everything back in line. I didn't have the desire to go in front of everybody anymore. I didn't care about that. You know what I'm saying? I just wanted to get back to myself, man, because it was something that hit hard because we were really close, you know?
Sometimes you got to be reminded to be there for your family. You're on such a come up, and then it's such an abrupt stop.
Yeah.
But you know, you were there for your family. You know, no one can hate you for that. You know, I feel like it's a valid hiatus. You know.
Grandma right here, man. Wear it on my neck.
I want to get a close up on that.
Grandma right here.
You can show it to that one right there.
Yeah.
So you wear that around with you now?
Yeah, man. I have one for my dad too, man. You know, he passed away when I was a teenager, and you know, I wear that too in the memory of him. A lot of time when I'm doing acting or if I'm doing film or something, you know, videos, whatever, you know, I keep my dad close to my heart, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I feel like he's with me, you know, when I'm have hard tasks or whatever, you know, just have him close with me. You know?
Would you say you apply this to your music a lot of times, or?
Yeah, I would say that, you know, my personal experiences definitely you know, got me in a position where, you know, I'm focused and I want to, you know, push forward with everything that I have set out to do in my life, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, music's turning out great. It seems, you know, you're going full stop, you know? I see you have a song featuring Benny the Butcher called Marble Floors.
I've been getting so much money, I went and got a bigger safe to put these motherfucking Franklins with the bigger face. Snowfall for 21, if you gonna catch a case.
Yo, I gotta tell you, shout out to Benny the Butcher. Benny is like one of the coolest artists you'll ever meet. He's really down to earth. And to be honest, you know, we're both from New York. I'm from Poughkeepsie, which is not that far upstate, but it's still considered upstate. He's from Buffalo, which is upstate. So we both, you know what it's like to be outside of the city and still trying to make noise. And honestly, you know, he grew up a hustler. I grew up a hustler. I feel like me and him are a lot alike in ways, and that's why I think it was easier for us to click when we met, you know, and working with him, it was a blast, man. You know, great lyricist. I say he's one of my favorite lyricists right now too. Excuse, I forgot to mention him in that list, but he's one of my favorite artists right now as well.
The haters did it. I watched them suckers bend the rules, but what I do, forgave them niggas. Making movies, I played the villain, shaking, moving, making millions.
You think you're gonna work with him again in the future?
Yeah, actually, you know, we have some other things lined up. I should be on a couple more tour dates, you know, with him and stuff like that.
Yeah, I wanted to follow up about that. I know you were on the road with Benny at the height of his career, which is a huge accomplishment. What was it like performing on like such a major tour?
Honestly, man, if you're ready, you don't have to get ready. You know, if you stay ready, you don't have to get ready. But what I can say, it was a great experience. The love that you get out on the road is a lot different than, of course, when you're performing in your hometown. You know, they just show a lot of love, man. People just give you stuff. People want to give you instrumentals. People, you know, it's like a lot of love, man, especially out there in Denver, man. If y'all ever get the chance to perform in Denver, we performed at a place called The Summit.
Yeah, I keep buying shoes, but I don't need them all. And my whole living room look like a sleeve sauce. Stop buying shoes, you don't need them all. And I'm running out of space just to keep them all.
Well, speaking of networking, do you think from that tour, it provided you any new opportunities for any future music or any future projects?
Yeah, I say that it opened up a lot of opportunity because when people see you making moves, then people start to gravitate to you. So it opened up other doors for me for other platforms. Definitely helped me land some roles. It, also, people give me more beats and different stuff. Like if you man, my DMs are flooded, you know, on Instagram. People just like, hey man, check out my beats. Yeah, and also, if anybody want to send some beats, definitely could send some beats. You know, send it to me, send it to my email, send it to my Instagram.
Well, focusing on the now, I listened to Prima Materia. It's pretty good. I mean, you have a wide range of songs and styles on the project. How were you able to make that but go together, you know, so sonically?
Well, what it is, man, is like when you're working on a project, the songs will kind of fit together like a puzzle, man. Yeah. You know, so it's like you'll start recording and you'll go for a certain type of sound or whatever, and then when you start like coming up with like a bunch of records, then they'll kind of just start fitting together, and then you'll know which records you want for that project or not for that project. Because while I was recording that project, I was simultaneously working on like four other albums that I've like completed.
Okay.
So yeah, but I knew the songs for that. It was like in a certain lane, a certain level of quality of production. You know, it's like it all had to just be cohesive. Yeah,
well, speaking of puzzles, I actually wanted to ask, because this album does feature several interludes and skits in between some of the songs. Can you give us some insight on the story you were trying to tell between every song? Like the Man-Made Skit, Remain Silent, the Money Skit, you know?
Yeah, well, first of all, the person on the skits is a guy named Tony De Niro.
Okay.
That's actually Benny the Butcher's manager. That's who I've met first, where I had contact with Benny. He also helped me out, you know, landing shows and stuff with Benny or whatever. But he came to me and was like, hey, man, you know, maybe host something on a tape or whatever. And he gave me a lot of different things. I wrote out some things that I wanted him to say because it's tailored to the records. Yeah. So basically the Money Skit comes right on before Dreams, and Dreams is like about money and American dream. The Made Man skit, you know, it's like basically the skits is going along with telling the story of the album, you know, because I wanted to be kind of cinematic, like you're watching a movie, and I wanted it to be where you don't really skip through. So it's like you could play it from the beginning to the end, and it's like in between like you said, the skits are just like the glue holding it all together, basically.
Well, I know this album features a lot of people. Out of the 9 features who made an appearance, who is your favorite by far and why? It's a tough question.
Yeah, because, you know, I respect everybody's art and their craft, and, you know, I think it was almost equal. But I'd have to say the Benny feature because of the recognition that I received from it. You know, me and Benny actually did a music video for Marble Floors, and he released it on his YouTube page. So people that I know that follow Benny just, you know, scrolling, see a new Benny video, and they're like, Tavi? Next thing you know, people calling me like, yo, I seen you on Benny YouTube. What's going on, man? Like, you know, and then to go on the tour, you know, the height of his career, that's when he just got his Def Jam deal, you know, to be on the road with him and stuff. So I say that would be my favorite, because also we were lyrically sparring. It's like we're not going after one another, but when you're a great MC, you're gonna wanna be at the level or exceed the level of the person you're rapping with, because it's like, you're not gonna just outdo me. So I felt like, and my brother always was like a Griselda fan. He's into Benny and Conway or whatever. He would always big up Benny. When I did the record, he was just like, used to tell the toe with Benny the Butcher. He was like, I can't say nothing. He's like, you did your thing. And I was like, you know, that was confirmation for me, you know, because my brother, he was a rapper before me, and I always looked up to him as an MC. So it was big that, you know.
Enough dough saved up that I can pay the label back. Overseas touring, I'm staying at a Paris Hilton. Then a few weeks later, a nigga ran into Paris Hilton.
Yeah, it was a fantastic track, so.
Thank you.
But from executive producing, scoring, audio engineering, to acting with Hollywood stars like Clifton, Powell, Omar, how was that transition and experience?
Well, from going from like more of like independent and like executive producing my own film, like, you know, without Hollywood and nothing like that, you know, that was like a hard task or whatever, but it was something that I was that was something that I was ready for, because, you know, I was built for it. You know, like I went to TV production school or whatever, but transitioning over to bigger names and bigger sets, it was just like, you know, be professional. Practice, you know, whatever role that you're doing. Like, for example, I played a henchman in News Cycle, the film that I have with Omar. I actually watched a lot of tactical videos and stuff like that and practice my tactical movements and stuff, because I know people watch films and you always be like, man, that's not how you hold the gun, or, you know, that's not how it's supposed to be done. So, you know, I'm just real critical about being professional.
Yeah, I know you mentioned like having to go to film school, and aside from the traditional film process, what major lessons did you learn from that industry, and how do you usually apply it to not only film but your music?
Well, what I've learned from being on set from different people, I was on the set of a movie called Mafietta with Dame Dash a while ago. There was a character that was supposed to be there for a scene. The character left because the filming took a little longer than I guess, you know, he might have had something he had to do. And I watched them improvise and switch the scene right on the set. The location had to get switched. They ended up shooting in the basement of a sneaker store, but you would never know that because of angles. And I learned that anytime someone may leave, the set might have to be changed, but you have to be ready to be able to pivot and improvise at all times. And it's the same thing you can apply with your music when I'm doing music videos, or even on the road, you might have to change up an idea of the way you're gonna do your set, because of tailored off of the location. You know what I'm trying to say? So really what I've learned is, you know, being professional, like things are elongated, it takes a long time, and being able to improvise and being able to make things still run smoothly.
So it definitely keeps you on your toes and stuff like that, for
Yes.
sure. All right, well, I know you mentioned some of the films you already worked in, but if you don't mind elaborating on those, on who you got to work with, and did you learn anything from those people you worked with on those films?
Yeah, so like I was saying, I worked in News Cycle with Omar. That was directed by Roger Green Jr. There's a guy, he's a very popular producer down in Atlanta. His name is Man Robinson. We shot that at Man Robinson Studio. He's also one of the producers of the film. That movie News Cycle was great. There's a lot of great actors and actresses in it. There's people from Tyler Perry shows in it. There's people from other movies in it. But when y'all see that movie, y'all gonna definitely be blown away by my performance. I worked on Blowback with Clifton Powell. Brian Thompson, he's the one that directed and written the movie Blowback. I play a black, like mafia-like boss in it. You know, I'm in a few different scenes. They do a few different close-ups. I don't really have any speaking roles in that movie, but it's just really building up for part 2.
Well, do you have any projects that you're working on now, or something you're about to release in the near future?
I have, like I said previously, I have 4 other albums that I've completed. The movie news cycle should be coming out soon in the near future. The movie Blowback, I released that at the film festival, the Virginia Film Festival, and we're about to have it at the Urban Film Festival in Miami, Labor Day weekend. So that's some of the projects that I'm working on. I'm about to shoot another video soon. And then hopefully in the near future, I'll be working on my horror movie with you, man. We'll be filming that movie hopefully sometime in October.
Yeah, for sure. I look forward to that one. That's going to be cool.
Yeah.
I know, with all the things you do, you got to do film, the music. How do you keep it all together? What motivates you to keep going with that?
Well, what it is like each time that you do something, you have to wear like a different hat. So it's like when I'm directing, I'm a director. When I'm acting, I'm acting. When I'm rapping, I'm rapping. And I try not to like blend them all together unless it's like I need to. So it's like, let's say I'm acting, but I have to do music on a film. So then, I'll do my acting and then, do the rapping side or whatever. And what keeps me motivated is, just wanting to succeed, for my family, make it for my mom, my mom and my nieces and my nephews, and then my drive just never dies. I know a lot of people, they might rap or they might act and eventually be like, yo, man, what happened, man? And they're like, oh, it wasn't for me anymore. But the things that I do, I feel like I was born to do. And it's like I never really tried to make it to be a big artist in the music industry. I always kind of kept it independent, underground. And for me, it's really more about trying to inspire, inspire people, man.
On the topic of inspiring others, do you have any words of advice for the future artists or anyone who's trying to make it into this scene?
I would say always be yourself, man. Always be authentic. Stay true to who you are. Don't try to fit into a crowd. Don't be scared to invest into yourself because a lot of people, I guess they might not feel like it's gonna work, so they don't wanna really spend their money. I would say always be professional, be timely, try to keep your social media current, create the best content that you can, and really, man, just don't cut any corners, pay the top engineer that you can find that you feel works with you. Find yourself a video director that you work well with that gives you the look you're going for and stick with those people. And when you set out to do a project, even when you get discouraged or family member passed away or anything happened in your life, you just gotta dig deep inside yourself and get that motivation to just keep going forward because at the end of the day, it all lives and dies with you and nobody that knows what's inside of you. So people will be like, man, you should give it up or whatever the case may be. But nobody knows your drive and your determination, And no matter what nobody says, just keep moving forward and just never give up.
Yeah, you got one life, you got to live it, that's for sure. Well, it's been a pleasure, doing the interview and everything, You have anything you want to say to the cameras, anything you want to plug, any future events? Say it to this camera, that camera, let the audience know what's on your mind.
Well, check it, man. Like I said, my name is TAVI OSHON. It's TAVI OSHON. You can follow me on social media under that name. I'm on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter. If you want to contact me for like a feature, if you're an artist, you're looking for a label to call home, if you need your movie written, you need photography, or any of the things that I do, you can contact me or shoot me an email. It's TAVI, TAVI 757 at gmail.com. So it's the number 757. So it's TAVI 757 at gmail.com. So whatever you need, just get at me. All right?
All right. Well, like I said, man, it's been a pleasure, man. I appreciate it.
Wish you had. Leaving at the door with 20 bags. Keep buying shoes, but I don't need no more. And my whole living room look like a sneaker store. My girl said stop buying shoes, you don't need no more. And I'm running out of space just to keep them all. I keep buying clothes, but I don't need no more.